Hey, good evening everyone. I got a real treat for you tonight. Tonight I'm going to show you how to make dipping sauce for chicken or fries, like the kind you get in the restaurant. You can buy this at the store, but I find it awfully expensive. It's about $1.50 or $2 a pack. And honestly, once you've done the layout for the spices, it's really cheap to make. And it's nice because you can tweak it just exactly the way you want it once you know how to make it. So here's the list of ingredients. So get yourself a small bowl and a spoon. And you will definitely need measuring spoons for this. You don't have to be super accurate, but you will need to measure. So first the cornstarch, then the potato starch, and you definitely don't want to be putting too much of this in. A little goes a long way. Sprinkle on the cayenne, and this is just to color the top of the cornstarch, unless you like it really hot. And the cloves, again, be careful with this, not too much, just an even sprinkle over the top. Now if you don't feel like sticking your fingers in your spice packages, fine, and if you don't want to do a pinch, just get a 1/4 teaspoon and just get like a little bit on the end. Then the onion powder, and the paprika, and I do like to keep a paper towel on the side just to wipe off the spoons between measurements, and parsley, so once you've got all the dry spices mixed in to the cornstarch, just mix that up with a spoon a bit. You're better to take a little longer with the spoon to make sure that you've got any chunks of spices broken up, rather than trying to stir it out in the pan, which may or may not work. So empty your can into your saucepan, and I do recommend a heavy bottomed one, and then get about 1/2 can of water from the top. This doesn't have to be perfectly accurate. And I actually do measure the ketchup into the measuring spoon for this, because you don't want too much. That looks about right. And I'm not going to be using the spoon for anything else, so I just kind of rinse it off in the pot. You notice there's a bit stuck in, that's why I always put a little bit more. So just whisk that up gently with the heat off. Now, you want to add your cornstarch and spice mixture with the heat off, because if you forget and bring that to a boil first, all the cornstarch will clump up and you'll have a heck of a time getting it out after. So just put in a bit and stir that in. Now the reason you have to do that is because it's homemade and it doesn't have any chemicals in it that help it dissolve easily, like the packages do. You need a little bit of patience, not too much. And the rest should just go in. That may be looking familiar already to some of you. And get your heat on, medium, and stir it till it comes to a boil. We'll zoom in a bit so you can see when it starts to heat up. You'll notice there's going to be little clear spots developing throughout. This is where it's important that you keep stirring. And when it does come to boil, it will get dark and clear at the same time. When it does come to a boil, and it has little bubbles all over the surface, you should turn the heat right down to low and go get your chicken fat if you're using it. Now, if you don't have schmaltz, which is rendered chicken fat, you can substitute with any other clear fat, such as vegetable shortening or lard, but I would step back on it a bit because you don't want it too greasy. The chicken fat itself doesn't seem to overwhelm it. Now this, I'm not going to dig the measuring spoon in. I'm just going to visually estimate 2 teaspoons here. And I'm going to say that's about it. And just put that in. And the nice part about this stuff is it just melts right into it. And it gives a lovely gloss to the sauce. Not to mention flavor. Okay, so just stir that in until it's melted. Which should happen fairly shortly. And you can just leave it on low for a minute or so for the flavors to develop and the spices to get into the sauce. But at this point you're pretty much done. So I'm just going to transfer it to a bowl so you can have a look at it. And those of you that are familiar with this sauce should be able to recognize it by now. So there's my dipping sauce for chicken or fries. Once you got the spices, it's real easy to make. It tastes really good. And I do hope you give it a shot, and I hope to see you again. Thanks for watching.